But I want to get your thoughts on the continuing tensions with China. Of course, China has sought to intimidate Australia over the past couple of years economically, diplomatically and militarily. And the latest incident happened last Saturday night with a Chinese fighter jet dropping flares into the path of an Australian Navy helicopter in international waters. Those facts are not in dispute, but China tries to blame Australia. Has Anthony Albanese responded vigorously enough, robustly enough, given we believe there's been no ministerial contact at all?
Well, this comes on top of the mess that they made over the sonar attack on Australian sailors in the South China Sea. So the trouble is weakness is provocative. In a situation like this, it is essential that at the very least the foreign minister calls in the Chinese ambassador and remonstrates about this behaviour towards the helicopter. I mean, it's in international airspace. It's completely wrong for China to have threatened the security of that helicopter and its crew. And this is a serious issue and is one that should be taken up by the government. I'm not sure about the Prime Minister, but certainly the Foreign Minister and the Defence Minister should be making very strident representations to the Chinese government. The trouble is if you let these things pass, as happened with the sonar incident, well, China just thinks Australia is a pussycat and can be pushed around. And so China understands power and it understands authority. And Australia needs to exercise power and authority in relation to these incidents so they don't happen again. And make sure, by the way, I'm speaking to you from the United States, make sure that the Americans and others come in behind Australia in support of Australia on this issue, as those countries did in relation to the sanctions that the Chinese imposed on Australian exports.
So just to be clear, in your view, as Australia's longest-serving foreign minister, what the Albanese government should be doing at the very least is calling in the Chinese ambassador, that is dragging him up to Parliament House and having a meeting with him directly with the foreign minister or the defence minister or both. That's a humiliation, if you like, a ritual addressing down of China through their ambassador. Would that be enough, or should the ministers also be seeking to speak with their counterparts in China?
Well, I think it would make sense for Penny Wong to ring her counterpart in China because, after all, you know, she has established a modus operandi, you might say. I wouldn't necessarily say a very close relationship with him, but she should use her relationship with him to express Australia's disappointment and more than that, Australia's outrage about this dangerous behaviour by the People's Liberation Army. But days have passed and no representations have been made yet by the Australian government.